All right, welcome, guys. This is Breakfast with the Brand, the number one podcast in the world for entrepreneurs and leaders who want to go from bland to industry leading brand. Of course, if you are tuned in live, you already know what to do. Number one, put some flames in the chat. Number two, let us know where you're listening in from. So, as usual, I have a phenomenal show for you today with a phenomenal guest, right? But before I bring her out, I do want to say phenomenal morning. Where are you listening in from? So I'm tuning in from the Caribbean. Now, for those of you who don't know me, I'm just a young man from the islands, right? I grew up in the eastern part of the Caribbean in a small island called St. Lucia. Where are my island people? In fact, how many of you would like to be on an island? Put a number one in the chat if that's you. So my next guest is a speaker. She's an author. She's a mother. She's a coach. She's many things. She's known for her high energy, her high voltage presentations, and the way that she electrifies audiences with her presence. Now, before I bring her out, I want to ask you to do me one favor and put some flames in the chat. All right, so I see some people tuning in. I want to say phenomenal morning. I see the one. So, the one, welcome to the show. Portia, welcome. Phenomenal morning. I see we have Samara Lynn. Phenomenal morning. Welcome to you. All right, so guys, help me welcome on my next guest. I'm not gonna waste any more time. Mr. B, bring her out. Let's get the show started. Phenomenal morning.
Phenomenal morning to you. How's it going, Junior?
Absolutely phenomenal. I choose to be phenomenal. And that's Michelle, before we get into it, I want to say this. Yesterday somebody asked me how I'm doing, and they
Mhm.
sounded a little down. And I said, I choose to be phenomenal. Right? So guys, happiness is a choice. The way that you feel is a choice. But Michelle, I want you to introduce yourself. Tell everybody who you are.
Yeah, absolutely. So, first of all, I have to say it is a super sensational Saturday on purpose. Why? Because I said so, and you can too. Absolutely. It is definitely a choice. I actually have an acronym for that, Junior. Then I'll introduce myself. It's called CHANGE. Choose happiness and never give excuses.
Wow. I need to write that down. Say that again, Michelle.
Yep, change. Choose happiness and never give excuses.
Choose happiness and never give excuses. Somebody write that in the chat. Choose happiness and never give excuses.
That's
So
right. Yes,
Michelle, for the people who don't know you,
yes.
give them a taster. Don't give them everything because of course we have to get into it. But for the people who don't know you, give them a little taste of who you are.
Yeah, sure. You know what? So I am, as you see on the screen here, Michelle D. Clark, and really just for real, I'm just a small town girl with big time dreams who God has definitely shown his grace, his mercy, and he has saved me from some life threatening things. When I say small town, I'm talking about Harvey, and most people don't even know where that is, and that's okay. It's near the south side of Chicago. And even though they may not know where Harvey is, they definitely do not have to be a reporter on America's Most Wanted to know how Chicago got its nickname Chirac. People were stealing and killing Junior and just thugging and drugging, doing all sorts of things when I was growing up. But instead of
Right.
doing that, I decided to do something different. So instead of being a dope dealer, I became a hope dealer with my company, Lift Nation, and where we empower women to live inspired, free, and transformed. So that's pretty much me in a nutshell.
Nice, nice. How many of you like that little thing she does at the ending? Put a number one in the chat. Say that again, Michelle.
Yep, Lift Nation, where we empower women to live inspired, free, and transform.
That's right. That's right. So, guys, listen, I want you to put some more flames in the chat. We're going to go to a short break, but when we come back, we'll be talking to Michelle. We'll be talking a little bit about her story, finding out exactly what she does and how she can serve you to the highest possible degree. Mr. B, when you're ready, let's go to a break. All right, guys, welcome back. This is, of course, Breakfast with the Brand, the number one podcast in the world for entrepreneurs and leaders who want to go from bland to industry leading brand. And this morning, I have with me a dynamic guest. I have with me Michelle D. Clark. So, Michelle, like she said, she is a speaker, like you see on the screen, a mindset management coach, also an author. We'll be getting into that a little bit later. But Michelle, let's really dive into you and what you do. So, what exactly does or do you do, Michelle?
Yeah, can I just for a quick 2.5 seconds? I have got to say, I don't know if any of the guests has ever commented before, but Mr. B and those breaks are the bomb. It really helps me to get crunk in between segments. So when I'm not on the show, I'm listening and I'm just, jamming along with it. So I love the music. So, but just, what I do is, so I empower women. When I talk about living inspired, free, and transform, one of the reasons why I do the Snap Transform is because it literally is a snap decision between where you want to be. So where you are now and where you want to be. I'm that bridge. So I'm not the change that the person wants to be. I'm the change agent. So I help the person to design where they want to be and then bridge that gap. So it's almost like when you go to a mall and you see at the mall, you are here. And then you
Right.
see where you want to be. And the map is the thing that helps to get you there. And you follow the map. And so what I say to myself is that I am that beacon of light to help women to find where they want to be. And it's because of my expertise, my education, and my experience, the things that I've been through. So, yes, I have a bachelor's in psychology, I have a master's in social work, but I also have a PhD from the School of Hard Knocks. Because, like I said before, I've been through some things. And it's those things that I've been through that helps me to be the Harriet Tubman of authenticity, helping women to just shatter those glass ceilings and shed the baggage of past tragedies and traumas in order to live more triumphantly. And so the way I'm able to do that is through coaching programs. We have a group which is Lift Nation. We meet every Saturday. And on Saturdays, we meet at 1. We have our Freedom at 1. And I'm sure we'll get a little bit more of that later. But that's one of the ways that I help women is through one-on-one coaching and through group coaching.
Excellent.
Mhm.
So, Michelle, so you describe yourself as a change agent.
Yes.
I find that very interesting because when we think of coaching, like it doesn't matter what kind of coach you are, you're only doing one thing, and that is transformation.
That's it.
Whether you're a business coach, whether you're I heard there's coaches for positive psychology. There are coaches for there's a coach for everything, right? But
Mhm.
essentially, you're trying to evoke that transformation. So, help me describe the state of being of a woman before she encounters you. So, how does she feel before getting into contact with Michelle D. Clark, and how does she feel after? So, let's talk about the transformation that takes place there.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, Junior. A lot of times as professional women, that's who I work with. A lot of time, professional women, we have so much on our plate. There's so many things going on. We're trying to juggle the kids. If there's a spouse involved, trying to juggle that or a significant other, want to perform optimally. Because for the most part, no one wants to fail. Nobody plans to fail. It's usually a failure to plan. And when we talk about planning, it's not just, well, you want to know about the woman themselves. So let's keep it to that. So when we're looking at the professional woman, they want more in life. They want to be able to live life and live it more abundantly, to be able to have that freedom of choice, freedom of mind, freedom to be able to come and go and do what they want with whom they want, when and how they want to do that. And so what I do is I help them. So when they leave me, they meet with me, what they're able to do is be able to change how they perceive their life. So, say,
Mm,
Junior, one of the challenges is not so much of what we're going through, it's how we look at what we're going through. That's
mm,
what I help them with. So, I help them with, and that's why I'm a mindset management coach. I help them to see the situations that they're in, pull out the strengths, pull out the needs that they have. We work on the needs and address those, and we expand upon the strengths that they already have. Junior, nobody comes to me with a blank slate. Nobody comes to me with clear, with just no idea of what's going on and how they got there. So we talk about those things, where you're at, how did you get there, and we tweak it because I like to say, there's really only 1 degree difference between hot water and boiling water. You just need to turn it up a notch. And so that's what I'm able to do, is to help women to put out on the table everything that they're going through, sort it out, and then we look at it and put the puzzle back together. A lot of times people think things are just falling down all around them, but it's not true. When we look at it and we're able to see it through clear lens, we see that things are actually falling into place.
Wow. Michelle, that was very beautifully put. And just listening to you speak, it actually reminds me of a couple quotes actually. Which is number one, you could see your life as a series of mistakes, right? So it's all about the perception. You could see your life as a series of mistakes, or you could see your life as a series of opportunities to grow. And
100%, 100%.
that's
Yeah.
right. And the
And
second
the
one,
way I'm sorry, go ahead.
right? And the second one I wrote down is, and this is just based on what you were saying, right? Freedom, right? Finding freedom, not from the pain, because people try to run from stuff, right, all the time. And I came across something the other day that says, if something attracts you, don't pull it. And if something repels you, don't push it. So people try to run from pain,
Mm-hmm.
right? But you're saying, or you're suggesting, finding freedom through that pain by changing your perception.
100%. 100%. Everything starts and ends with a thought. Everything starts and ends with a thought. So, fun fact, I was talking with my daughter the other day, and she was saying how somebody made her feel a certain way. And I had to correct her. I said, no, they didn't make you feel that way. Your thoughts about what they said or did made you feel a certain way. And that's the same thing with our circumstances. It's our thoughts about our circumstances which makes us feel a certain way. Because if it was the actual circumstance that made us feel that way, then it would make everyone feel that way. And yet it does not. So you can take someone who may not have the financial affluence, but they're happy as a lark. And then you have someone who may have all the financial freedom in the world, but they're not happy. Well, how is that? Is it money supposed to be the thing that helps people to feel happier? No, it's not. It's all about our perceptions about who we are and where we are and what we want to be. That changes everything. That is the change. So that's why the transform. So we help people to change by how they look at the situations from whence they've come.
Very interesting. Michelle, listening to you speak, I'm a little curious about what are some of the, I guess, the negative thought patterns or the negative beliefs or the false beliefs that you notice women experiencing. What would some of those things be?
One of the biggest things, and for those of us with the tech talk, is our schemas. So our schemas are our belief system. It's like our filing cabinet. It's a shortcut to the shortcut, if you will. So that way we don't have to experience things all over again, new. So when we experience a new encounter, our minds say, okay, what is that like? Okay, it goes here. Well, that's a good thing or a bad thing. The pendulum swings both ways. What happens, Junior, is a lot of times women encounter different experiences and they have feelings based on their thoughts. And a lot of times those thoughts may be negative when we're talking about body image, when we're talking about not feeling good enough. So that's one of the biggest things I come encounter with is women not feeling that they're good enough for XYZ. Too tall, too short, not this, not that. And what it really is that there's been a sequence of events that they've experienced that
Mhm.
left them feeling negative, not just about the experience itself, but then internalizing it and feeling negative about themselves. And so what we have to do is we go in and we look at a couple of different ways. One is it true? Is what you are thinking about the situation, is it true?
Mhm.
If it's not true, then let's get to the truth. Now, there
That's
are some times, Junior, where it is true. So then the next thing we ask is it helpful? Is it helpful? So let me give a quick example. And this one is a really basic one. So let's just say if a woman puts on an outfit and she says, oh, I've gained some weight and I don't really feel good in how I look. Well, it's probably true they gain weight. They know their weight. But is it helpful for them to look at themselves in that way? Is that going to help them to feel better about who they are? No, it is not. So then we start implementing some affirmations, some positive self statements that they can gravitate to. That's not too far off. Because the thing, Junior, is a lot of times we talk about affirmations, we say, "Oh, I am this," and it our minds aren't there yet.
Right.
We can't really embrace that. So we just have to turn up just a little bit to make
Mhm.
just some minor adjustments. And this is how I look at it, Junior. If we look at a rocket ship is off course about 97% of the time. Most people don't know that. Rocket ships are off course about 97% of the time. So you might say, okay, well, Michelle, then how does it make its course? Because it makes those micro adjustments along the way. Adjust, adjust, adjust until it reaches its point. That's how we help people with mindset management is we help them just make minor adjustments, adjust,
Mhm.
adjust, adjust until they reach to their point where they want to be.
Very nice. Guys, if by the way, ladies, I know we have a lot of ladies looking. If you do have any questions, go ahead and put them in the chat. I'm sure Michelle will be happy to answer every single question that you have. Michelle, I find that very interesting when you talk about a rocket and you talk
Mm-hmm.
about I think it's called a course correction apparatus. Basically, you're taking in what we call negative feedback, and you're using
Yeah,
the negative feedback to stay on course. So while listening to you speak, now I know you have a background in therapy, right?
that's correct. Yep.
So I'm wondering how much of that background comes into play with what you do right now. Because I heard you talk a little bit about sort of like the past. So, what might have happened, what might have held you back. But then I also heard you talk about the future, which is okay, this may be true, but what are we going to do about it? What can we do about it? So, how much of your background in therapy, and by the way, talk a little bit about that as well, right? How much of that goes into what you do today?
Absolutely. You know what, Junior? So, for those of you who don't know, I am a licensed mental health therapist. So that's where the LMSW comes from, licensed master social work. And I've been doing that for over 20 years. And it definitely has shaped and impact how I provide coaching to my women. Because the bottom line is there are things that we experience every single day. There's things from the past that we've encoded and we're recalling it in ways that can be either helpful or unhelpful, that can help us to move forward or not. And so a lot of it is based in what's called cognitive behavioral therapy, which basically states that we have cognitions and everything filters through our thought process. And that's how we internalize and externalize our behaviors and how we interact with people and events. So we have to get to the base root of what are our schemas, what are our thought processes about different events. That's where we're going to be able to make the change. Because if we try to make change outside of us, it's futile because you can't change other people.
That's
And
right.
if we're talking about circumstances, yeah, if you want to move from this place to that place, that's fine. But I'm going to tell you what, if your mindset does not change, you're going to find yourself in the same circumstances, the same situations, being with the same types of people. And I see that so often, Junior, particularly when we talk about someone who may have been involved in domestic violence. And they find themselves getting out of the skillet and going right to the frying pan or from the frying pan to the fire. They find
Mhm.
themselves going from one relationship abusively to the next abusive relationship, or one trauma to the next trauma. And the challenge is not that the situations are externally outside of them. It's because of what's happening on the inside that they're actually attracting that. And I know some people say, well, whoa, whoa, Michelle, what do you mean they're attracting that? Because of how they are seeing their circumstances, because of how they feel about themselves. They're sabotaging good relationships and they're suffering through bad relationships. Ask me how I know. We're not just talking about experience, expertise now. I'm talking about experience. I'm talking about the things that I've been through, Junior. So when I talk about me being the Harriet Tubman of authenticity, it's because just like Harriet Tubman, I was enslaved. I was enslaved in my mind, and I had to break free. And because I was able to break free, Junior, now I can go back and now I can help others, other women who were just like me, who may have had a critical illness that they thought they were going to lose their lives. They may have had an abusive situation. The odds, the deck may have been stacked against them. And guess what? Every single circumstance, no matter what we go through, we use those circumstances to grow through them so that way we can reach back and then help someone else. What we go through is not just for us.
Hmm.
So when we're going through a situation, I help women to realize this is not a stumbling block, it's a stepping stone. It's a stepping stone to your success, to your prosperity, and that lies in helping others. So when I break free, I'm not just going to run and say, "Woo, I made it." No, just like here at Tubman, I go back and I help other women to break free as well.
Wow, thank you so much, Michelle. Guys, we're gonna go to a quick break, but if you enjoyed that session so far, I want you to do me a favor, put some more flames in the chat. Also, like and share this broadcast. We'll be back in a few seconds. Mr. B, when you're ready, take us to a break. All right, guys, welcome back. This is Breakfast with the Brand, and we are on with Michelle D. Clark. Wow, Michelle, you gave a phenomenal speech just before we went to the break. Now, for those of you who are just tuning on, Michelle is a phenomenal speaker, coach, also an author, right? And she's on a mission to free women, to help them break through the glass ceiling, and to help them finally find a life of freedom. And Michelle, moving into this next segment, that's actually what I wanted to talk about.
Sure.
So, number one, how do you define freedom? So when you talk about freedom, what exactly does that mean? Because, a while ago I heard you mention that money may not be the key to freedom, that necessarily having material things may not be the key to freedom. So how do you help women find freedom? Within what context?
Absolutely. A lot of times when we think of the word freedom, people think about being able to do what they want, when they want, however they want to do it, with whom they do it, and for how long they want to do it for. And that's great. What that all boils down to is being able to have options and control over those options. That's what matters.
Mm.
So being able to so for me, when I'm able talking to women about freedom and being able to have that freedom of choice, freedom of having options to do the things that we want to do and control over those options. So when we sit and we talk about and look at what is going on in their lives, what's happening right now, what are some things that they find oppressing? Because there may be some things that they're doing in their life that they feel like they have to do, but they really may not. Or if it
Mm.
is something that is a necessity, how are you looking at that necessity? So let's just say, so okay, so I'm working with some women and we're talking in a group, and there's some things that they say they have to do that's according to whatever their job industry is. And they're complaining about the circumstance. Now, the circumstances are going to change because the rules are the rules. The things they have to do are the things they have to do. So I say, okay, you can complain about what you have to do, or you can embrace what you have to do. Because either way it goes, it's something that you say you have to do. So, in the one circumstance, when we complain about a situation and complain about the thing that we have to do, how does that make the person feel? Okay, here comes therapy, right? How is it making that person feel? Well, I don't know about you, Junior, but when I'm complaining about something, I usually don't feel too good about it. I feel annoyed or irritable
I agree.
or depressed or sad or angry. Anyone frustrated, any one of those feelings, which is a natural, normal response. At the same time, okay, we can get past that and then say, okay, I have to do it anyways. What are some ways that I can find some peace with this? How can I find some sort of enjoyment with this? How can I change my mind such that I change my feelings, therefore changing my behaviors? So that's the cognitive behavioral therapy model there. So if it's something
Mm.
that I say that I have to do anyways, instead of going in it, kicking and screaming and begrudgingly doing it, I embrace the experience. What am I gaining from this experience? What am I learning from this? How am I impacting not only myself, but others when I do this act that I say that I have to do? That can change, that can make the difference, Junior, all the difference in the world on how we then feel about ourselves. Because let's take a step back. If we are doing something that we say that we don't want to do and we don't like to do, and we feel like we're oppressed and having to do it anyways, that makes us feel as if we don't have control. And when people feel like they don't have control, then that negatively impacts self-esteem. And a lot of people don't make that transition. They don't see how A plus B equals C. They don't see how all that goes together. And then they wonder why they're walking around feeling horrible. And when we feel bad about ourselves, it's like a vicious cycle. Then we feel bad about the environments. We feel bad about the interactions. We feel bad about the things that and the people that we're associating with. It almost puts this lens of fog over us. So we have to change that. We have to take those glasses off, put on a new set of glasses, see life through a new lens. And that helps us to then internalize and feel better about ourselves. And when we feel better about ourselves, we make better decisions for ourselves. We find ourselves interacting with others on a higher frequency. I'm about to start talking about energy work, but that's a part of it. Everything that we do is energy, Junior. Every single thing that we do is energy.
Right.
And what we put out
Yes.
there is not going to come back to us void. So when people are wondering why is that every time I'm in a situation, people are talking down to me or people are negative towards me. They wonder why they're having these negative and abrasive interactions all the time, or why do I find myself in negative situations? It starts from here. What kind of energy are we emitting? What are we putting out there? Because it's not going to come back to us void. Whatever we put back there, out there, it's like a boomerang. It's almost like an echo. It's going to come back to us. So we have to
Yes.
change our thought process in order to change our feelings, change our behaviors, and that is what's going to change the circumstances around us.
100%. So, Michelle, I've been writing while you were speaking, and I noticed something very interesting about you.
Yes.
I noticed something very interesting. So, I noticed how you are very, maybe even unconsciously, right? But I noticed the way that you use the power of your words.
Mm.
So for example, and guys, for those of you who don't know, I might say to Michelle, "Hey, Michelle, how you doing today?" Something like that, and then shoot. So, Michelle, how you doing today? Let's see.
Yeah, I am super sensational on Saturdays, Junior.
I listen. She has one of those little things for every single day of the week. And then when you were speaking, I noticed the way that you use number one language. I noticed that the way you use language was very empowering, right? You talk about embracing the experience and you talk about complaining. So, my question is, and in fact, it's not even a question, it's just an observation, right? I noticed that some people may say, oh man, I have to do this. And then you have the people who say, I get to do this.
Mm,
So, a lot of people say, I have to go to work today. What if you change your language? And this is for everybody looking. What if you were able to change your language and say, no, I get to go to work today? I have to eat this today. No, I get to eat today. And I could remember Sean when he came back. In fact, when he was on his way back from the Bahamas, and we had the opportunity to speak with him while he was on the ship, he spoke about some of the poverty that he saw on the
mm,
islands, and he was able to really contrast how things were back there with what's
mm-hmm.
going on over here, right, or in America. And I think the power of language, this is something that everybody has to use. So in your particular programs, right, in your case, do you teach women how to harness the power of language to evoke change? Is that something that you do?
Absolutely. Words matter. Words matter. Thoughts are things, words matter. How we define something. So a lot of times, like right now when we were talking, you may see me stop and pause because I want to carefully craft how I say what my thoughts are. Because when you put words out there, you all, we're actually, and somebody say, oh, here we go with this. We're actually casting spells. That's why they call them our spelling words.
Mm,
When we say something, we're actually breathing life into whatever it is that we're saying. So that's why we have to be very careful in how we craft our words and what we say, because that creates a vibration. It changes us on a molecular level, our atoms, neutrons, all that stuff. It changes us, our physicality. So let's just think about if we're talking about, well, this is okay, we're talking about being on Breakfast with the Brand. And so when I was invited on, I was like, yes, I'm excited. I'm happy. And everything within me, because I said I'm happy, even in here, we have to speak it out loud, right? We talk to ourselves all the time. It's called self talk. That's okay, even if
that's
you
right.
answer, right? So all the process within me, I said to myself, I'm excited, I'm happy. My body started to get in alignment with that. And then it started radiating outwards. So that's the same thing when we say something that may be negative. So the pendulum swings both ways. Then it creates a chain reaction in our body, and then that's what we emote.
Mm,
So words absolutely matter, Junior. How we see things and how we say things can make all the difference in what happens around us and how we internalize what's happening around us.
excellent.
Yes.
So Michelle, I have a question. A lot of people believe that change starts from the inside out. But what I'm hearing you say is that it may actually start from the outside in. So, for example, let's say I feel sad, right? I don't feel like myself.
Hmm.
A lot of people try to change that feeling by going on the inside and trying to evoke that feeling from the inside to then portray the, I guess, the personification of that feeling on the outside through their movements, through the smile on their face, right? But what if we could do it on the outside by changing our language? What is your thought on that particular piece? Do you think it's quicker and easier for somebody who may be experiencing something to change faster using the power of their words as opposed to trying to think their way out of that situation? Do you think it's faster to do that?
Well, Junior, for me, I think they actually, so we say either or. I think it's a marriage.
Mm,
I will look at that as a marriage. There's some circumstances where on the outside we can change our words about the situation, and at the same time we still have to internalize it. So it goes hand in hand. So the quicker route would be doing both.
Mm.
So we talk about when we're working with women and they experience something, they have thoughts about that experience. They may not feel good about the experience. So we talk about, okay, how can you feel better about the experience? Well, one thing is we can conceptualize, why did I go through this? What did that mean? So that's on the inside, right? So doing the inside work. What did that mean for me and what did I learn from that experience? How did I feel about that? How do I change now that feeling? And then we incorporate the language so that way they can conceptualize it. So instead of complaining, so somebody said, well, can I have to sometimes get out what I'm feeling. That's fine. There's a difference between complaining and venting.
Yes.
So you can vent, and that's fine. Vent is, if you think about it, the word vent, we talk about what words mean, right? Think
Hmm.
about an actual vent where you're airing something out.
True. That's
Now,
interesting. I've never thought about that. Say
mhm,
that again, Michelle. That's super interesting. Guys, listen to this. Listen to this.
yes. So there's a vent. Now think about it. On the other side of the room, what is there? There's a receiver.
Hmm.
So when the air comes out, then it goes into the receiver, and it's supposed to go through some sort of filtration system before it comes back out.
Hmm.
And the air should be better. What happens is a lot of times when we vent and then it turns to complaining, it's just that air is being recycled, but it's not being recycled with a filter. If we're talking about us, so we keep the analogy going. There's not the filter there, and the filter is supposed to help to clean the air before it comes back through the room. A lot of
True.
times we just have that same old nasty air going through because the filter is either dirty because or it needs to be changed, or there isn't one at all. Coaching, therapy, that's what helps with the filtration system. That's what we do. We help people with their filtration system. So it's not either or, it's both. That's the
Mm.
fastest way. So we can say it might be faster from the outside. Personally, I believe it's faster on the inside, but if you put both of them together, then you're going to get the fastest result. That's when you're going to get the fastest result. So we're looking at the work on the inside. We look at the work on the inside. It helps us to conceptualize the experiences that we have. And yes, we talk about acting as if, don't fake it till you make it, acting as if nobody wants anything fake. We act as if the thing that we want, the things that we see is already there in front of us because, Junior, it actually is. It actually is already there in front of us. We just don't see it yet because it's in the metaphysical realm. I don't want to get too far out, but it's not here yet because
Mm.
we have to be ready to receive it. Then we can see it. So it's the belief. So we talk about everybody has BS, y'all. Belief system. Everybody has a belief system.
That's right.
And so it's not seeing is believing, it's believing is seeing. That's why the inside work is so important. So that way it can help us on the outside work. And then how we conceptualize it through our words that have power. I read a little book that says life and death is in the power of the tongue.
Mm.
So then that is what helps it to manifest. So it starts here, comes out here, and then we have it around us.
Nice. Guys, listen, we're going to go for a short break, but when we come back, we're going to go just a little bit deeper with Michelle D. Clark. If you've enjoyed the show so far, go ahead, put some more flames in the chat. We'll be back in a few seconds. Mr. B, let's go to a quick break.
Hey guys, listen, right before you stop, right before you stop, right before you quit, before you throw in the towel, I want you to hear this one more time. Listen, you are who you need to be already. I'm going to tell you what they've been hiding from you. You are already who you need to be. Content you don't need any more of. You've been had enough content. What you need is context. What you need is system. You have the skill. What you need is system. You have the presence. You need the procedure. You have the promise. You need the process. I want to show you the process and the system to go from where you are to where you need to be and how to get clients finally on autopilot. Let's grow. I don't talk theory. I don't talk hyperbole. I don't talk opinion. Nothing I talk is anything but evidence-based.
During the G Circle retreat in Atlanta, I had the pleasure and the honor of listening to Mr. Sean Raiz. He will not only impact your organization, but he will elevate your team to another level.
When you change you, when you put you into the equation, the whole system is different. I guarantee you, you got the right thing. You are the right person. If you can present yourself in the best way possible, there's no negotiation.
His energy is infectious, and I have so many takeaways from the presentation that I can't wait to get started and implement them today to see the result.
All right, guys, welcome back. This is Breakfast with the Brand, and of course, we have the thought inspiring Michelle D. Clark. All right, so Michelle, before we get into it, I do want to acknowledge a couple of people. Right, I see Portia. So Portia put the flames. Charmaine, phenomenal evening. Phenomenal morning, in fact, guys. I'm living in the future. Don't mind me. Jackie, phenomenal morning. Keishan. Doria says, this is a wonderful discussion, Junior and Michelle. A lot of wisdom and gems being shared. I've reached out to connect with you both here on LinkedIn. Okay, definitely, Daria. We will be connecting with you. Definitely. All right. So she also says, so true about the power of words. Of course, Alita, phenomenal morning to you. Welcome, welcome. Okay. So Michelle, in fact, I have a question for everybody looking. Check this out. And this was a mind bender for me. I heard a guy say something the other day. He's supposed to be like I don't want to use the word guru, but let's just say a guru so that everybody knows what I'm talking about, right? So if you're looking at this show right now, I want you to put it in the chat. Where do you see us? Do you see us on the outside or do you see us on the inside? Put it in the chat. Do you see us on the outside? So do you see us on the outside or do you see us on the inside? Where are you looking at us right now? Let's see. And Michelle, while we wait for those answers to come in,
Mhm.
one saying that you reminded me of while you were speaking is that vision is not sight. So when you said that thoughts are things and what we think about are actually, I guess, in front of us, but we don't necessarily see them, the saying came to my mind that vision has nothing to do with sight. Nothing to do with sight. So check this out. So Samira Lynn, she put inside, which is right. So you perceive us as being outside. And guess what? We're actually up here. We're actually inside. So just something to think about, based on what Michelle was saying. So Michelle, as we're about to wrap up in a few minutes, let's talk about some of the things that you have going on. So what are some of the ways that people could connect with you and
Yes,
to learn more
absolutely.
about who you are and what you do?
Yes, and Junior, it's an actual perfect segue because today with Lift Nation Freedom at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, that's a Zoom room that we actually are going to be covering vision today.
Wow.
So we're going to be talking about vision and the power of vision and how we can harness how we see things, not how we see things, in order to make that change in our lives. So that way we can truly be free in 2023. So they can meet me. They can register. It's a free register, a link we have, which is
Yes.
bit.ly/Lift Nation Freedom at one.
Yeah, Mr. B, can you put that link up somewhere on the screen? Also, Michelle, um, you actually wrote a book, didn't you? You put
Yes,
out a
yes,
book,
yes.
right?
Yes, yes.
Talk about
So,
that.
yep, I have two books. The most recent one that just came out on the 15th, and we made bestseller on Amazon. Whoop, whoop. So
Nice.
it's an anthology. Yep,
Yes.
it's an anthology. We have our visionary author, Sherelle D. Mims. Love you, girl. And also, Dr. Nikita Davis played an instrumental role in helping us to get the book out there and published and all that. And so it's for the love of caregiving, for the love of caregiving. And my chapter is called Put Your Mask On First.
Mm.
Put your mask on first. I have been and I am a caregiver. I have a special needs son. He has cerebral palsy. I also needed caregiving when I was going through my life threatening challenges. I'm a survivor, and I like to say I'm not just a survivor, I'm a thriver of 2 strokes and stage 2 breast cancer. So I don't look like what I've been through. And that's the covering. I'm gonna give it to God. I don't know who's out there watching and say, oh, she's saying something about religion. Well, let me tell you something. It's not religion, it's spirituality. And God is my source, and I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for him. So what you're seeing is the covering all over me. That's what you're seeing.
Right.
So yes, yes, yes.
Definitely, definitely. And we're gonna put up that book. Mr. B, can you put up the link for the book? And also let's drop it in the chat. Guys, I think the book, Michelle, if I'm not mistaken, the book is it like 99 cents or something just to get it, just to download it?
Yeah, what we were doing is for the first couple of days, for the first 48 hours. So I'm not sure if it's still 99 cents, but
Okay.
it was a free download for 99 cents, and you actually would receive a copy of it in ebook format. You don't have to have a Kindle. I know it says Kindle, but you don't. It's actually on Christmas Day. So that's like one of the best Christmas gifts, I think. Of course, I'm biased that I think that you can receive and give to someone, because it's not, again, it's not just my story too. It's a compilation of other people's stories and their walk in life with caregiving. And also at the end of my chapter, I put in there 7 strategies to put your mask on first, to care for yourself, because self-care is so important. So many times as professional women, we're caring about other people. We're doing things for others. And when it comes time for us to do for ourselves, we tapped out. We either too tired to do it, or don't make the time to do it when we have the energy. So these are some really easy ways to provide self-care to sustain us, so that way we can continue to do the good work and fight the good fight.
100%. 100%. So guys, listen, this is the link for Michelle's book right at the bottom there. Listen, guys, it costs like $1. Just get the book and also get it for somebody else. So Michelle, remind us, which chapter is yours exactly?
Yep. Yep. So my chapter is called Put Your Mask On First. Yep. So Put
All
Your Mask
right.
On First is my chapter.
Very nice, very nice. So Michelle, before we wrap up, I do want to ask the people in the audience, do you have any questions for Michelle? So if you do have a question, I think we have time to take one question. If anybody has something quickly. Um, but Michelle, while we wait, is there anything that you'd like to leave us with, based on everything that we've spoken about this morning?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I wanted to take a quick second to just talk about the birth of Lift Nation. So I have Lift Life Coaching Solutions, but I also have Lift Nation. So Lift Nation, the one reason that I said, this is so necessary. Lift Nation is the group format where professional women are able to interact with each other and provide resources and support for each other. I birthed Lift Nation because so many times I hear, oh, women can't get along and women can't succeed and professional women can't, grow up and blow up together. That is a falsehood. It's not true. We can and we do get along. And so this is a place where I do many trainings. So that's on the Saturdays. And we also have a segment where we're able to network, because in my mind, you're either networking or not working. So, bottom line. And so we're able to pool our resources. And we're in the process of putting together a resource hub. So that way, no matter where you go in the globe, you'll always be able to find a Lift sister.
Hmm. Come on, guys. This is network. This is network. So Michelle, we actually have a question. I'm gonna
Sure.
take it from Miss Williams, right? Aletha. So question for Michelle.
Mm.
What was the pivotal moment in life when you discovered your purpose? That is a phenomenal question.
Okay, so I have two answers that I'll try to make it brief. The first one is really funny. 6 years old. I was 6 years old, and my mother tells me the story to help keep it fresh. But at the age of 6, I put a like a what do you call it, like a sign on my desk where I had a pencil sharpener, and I told the class that if they want to come to my desk, they can sharpen their pencil and get free or get advice for 5 cents. So,
Mm,
and my teacher called my mom and said that there were kids lined up at my desk, even though we have a pencil sharpener in the classroom, and they were lined up at my desk to get free advice and sharpen their pencil. Well, 5 cents, right? And
yes.
so, all the way back then, I knew that I wanted to help people. Now, I don't know what kind of advice I was giving, and I don't know what kind of problems a 6 year old has. but, I, but I knew all the way back then that I loved helping people. Now, as an adult, I felt like with the things that I've been through, sometimes we feel alone. You know what I'm saying? You know,
Mhm.
we feel alone, like we're the only ones that's going through the things that we're going through. And that's not true. So I say to myself every day, and some people might say, "Oh, you really say?" Yes, I do. I say, I am the light. I am
Mm,
the light. I'm that beacon of light to help guide the ships in because we all go through something, but we don't all know how to grow through something.
mm,
And so that's why I say I am the light because I'm on that other side.
mhm,
I've been there, I've done that. I not just survive because surviving isn't enough. We need to thrive.
mm.
And so that's when we really get that freedom. When we change our mindset from just surviving, barely making it,
That's right.
to thriving, abundance. And that starts here. So that those were my pivotal moments. So that answered the question. When I went through the stage 2 breast cancer, or I had the 2 strokes first back in 2014, back to
Mm,
back, lost my speech, wasn't able to move my whole right side, yeah, all that whole nine.
mm.
Within less than 24 hours, I was healed up. So transformed, I was
Did you
transformed.
say, hold on, did you say less than 24 hours?
Less than 24 hours, I got my speech back. I'm telling you, I couldn't utter one word. All
Wow.
I could do was this.
Never heard of that.
I could not utter a word. Whole right side, and I'm right dominant, y'all. My whole right side couldn't use it at all. So I
That
know
is
what it's like.
mind
I
blowing.
know what it's like to literally be paralyzed. Literally be paralyzed.
That is mind blowing to me, Michelle. That is absolutely mind blowing. Less than 24 hours.
Let's transformed,
Wow.
transformed.
So that was a phenomenal question, by the way, Alita. And Alita also says, let's see.
And I'm sorry, I think I said Alicia. I'm sorry, Aletha.
Yes.
I don't have my glasses on.
She also says, I would like to be a part of the Lift Hub. So, Michelle, for the people who would like to be a part of the Lift Hub, number one, tell us again what the Lift Hub is for those who might just be tuning in.
Yeah,
And then
absolutely.
for the
So
people who wanna, I don't know, register or to learn more, just to learn more about it, right? How
yes,
can or where can they connect with you?
yep. So they can. What I would like to do is because I like to talk to people. I like to vet them, if you will, and see what they do, what they're looking to do in their life, how they complement and work well with the women that we have, and so they can actually book a free. We're going to do free conversation exploration with me, and go to bit.ly/mindset with Michelle, and that's Michelle with one L because you don't need two and one does the same. So I think Mr. B might have that link as well, but it's the
Okay.
bit.ly/mindset
Yeah,
with Michelle. And let's have a conversation. Let's talk about it. Let's have a
yeah,
conversation.
definitely. Mr. B, can you put that link up? And also, Michelle, they should be able to just connect with you on LinkedIn, right? So,
Absolutely.
I know
Michelle
Mr.
D.
B,
Clark.lift. I'm on
right,
Facebook. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on Instagram. So yeah, they can reach me either one of those. I also have on Tuesday
right.
Talks with Miss Clark, LMSW. That's my podcast that I do. I broadcast on YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn every single Tuesday. So you can meet me there. this Tuesday as well. We'll be meeting this Saturday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for our Lift
Okay.
Nation Freedom at 1, where we will be talking about vision. So you can meet me there as well. That link was already provided. We won't be meeting the next 2 Saturdays. That's Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve. So we won't be meeting
Right.
on those 2 Saturdays, but we'll be meeting starting back up again after today, fresh for the new year.
Great. So, ladies, this is a phenomenal opportunity. Actually, so Michelle, just to be sure, just to be
Yes,
clear, it's actually at 1 p.m. today, right?
that is correct.
Excellent. So, ladies, if you're free at 1 p.m. East today, just send her a DM, right? Just send her a DM. If you're looking at this on LinkedIn, I see Daria, I see Aletha. If you want to learn more about how Michelle operates, if you want to learn more from her, you could actually connect with her today at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Just send her a DM on LinkedIn, or if you're viewing this on Facebook as well, make the connection. She'll be waiting to hear from you. Also, I see our people from YouTube as well. Don't want to leave you out. Definitely come on in. Um, Michelle D. Clark across all platforms, right? So LinkedIn,
Yep, Michelle D.
IG.
Clark Lift. Yep.
Okay, Michelle D. Clark Lift on LinkedIn, IG, and also Facebook, right?
Yes, and again, that's Michelle with one L because you don't need two and one does the same.
That's right. All right. So thank you so much. So we're about to wrap up, guys. I do want to say thank you so much. This has been an amazing show. I want you to put some flames in the chat for Michelle. Michelle, thank you so much for being here.
My
I
pleasure.
enjoyed our conversation, and I definitely look forward to bring you back on the show at a later date.
Thank
So
you so
thank
much,
you so
Junior.
much. You're very welcome. To the audience, thank you so much. You've been absolutely phenomenal. This has been Breakfast with the Brand, the number one podcast in the world for entrepreneurs and leaders who want to go from bland to industry leading brand. See you next Saturday. Thank you very much.